Every Saturday is Catterday on Echoplex Media, and not only are we posting fucking cats, we invite all content creators to join our open panel. Visit echoplexmedia.com/panel to learn how to join. Every third Saturday is Operation Catterday, where we cover this week and last year and play the best clips from the cast of conspiracy characters that Now Space has learned to loathe. The show starts at 8 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/echoplexmedia. Find our full schedule at echoplexmedia.com.
Police officers, they've gone insane.
I'm white, and I've got everything I need. No one clutches their purses when they're in a room alone with me. And I can drive for any neighborhood I please at any hour, and the police don't do a thing. So if I see a penny on the ground, I leave it alone and fucking flip it. I'm a straight white male in America. I've got everything I need. I'm a guy getting paid more than a girl with a degree. And I can walk down the streets after dark, no one wants to rape me. And I can get a girl pregnant and just as easily flee. Just like my straight white male dad did to me. So if I see a penny on the ground, I leave it alone and fucking flip it. I'm a straight white male in America. I've got all the luck I need. I've got a pile of broken mirrors and I'm walking under ladders and I'm spilling tons of salt, but to me that doesn't matter, cause my skin and my gender and my orientation are the best things to have if you live in this nation. I recommend it highly. If I see a penny on the ground, I leave it alone and fucking flip it. I'm a straight white male in America. I've got all the luck I need. Shit's gonna work out for me, cause I'm a straight white male in America. I've got all the luck I need.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Intellectual Dollar Tree. We do the show live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific right here, twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. Welcome podcast listeners and welcome back HK.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm very well. I can introduce myself. I am HK Perrin and you can find me on Twitter at HK Perrin. And you can find me on the show that we record on Monday, but we release on Wednesday just before this show, called How the Tech Are You?
That's right. You should go subscribe to that on YouTube or on your favorite podcatcher or whatever. It would be good for our egos.
It's a tech news show, and we talk about the tech news that generally gets missed by a lot of other tech news outlets. So if you already have a tech news show that you like to watch, maybe consider adding ours, because you might catch things you'd otherwise miss.
Fantastic. And podcast listeners, just follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. We're looking forward to next month. It will be September. We're hoping to make a few bucks next month. So, HK, every once in a while we go off the beaten path on this show.
Okay. Usually
it's terrifying, right?
Yes, I would say so, yeah.
This isn't. This is fucking hilarious. This is from 1994, and this is a law enforcement guide to dealing with satanic cults.
Oh, boy. 4:3 aspect ratio. I love it.
Shit, we're going to get a $250,000 fine.
Due to the graphic nature of this program, viewer discretion is advised.
Does
that mean we shouldn't watch it? Are we too immature?
I'm telling you, this goes zero to turbo hella quick. You're going to like this. So podcast listeners, you're gonna have to check this out on YouTube or Odyssey or whatever, because this is a pretty visual experience we're going to be having here. We've already watched this on the Cults and Satanic Panic show, as you could imagine. That's where all our good material, like our off the beaten path material for IDT, tends to come from there. What do you think so far?
I like it so far. I remember watching something like this. Did I watch it with you on a different show, or am I misremembering?
You were on the Thursday show once. We watch stuff like this all the time on Thursday.
Okay,
but I don't think you've seen this specific one.
Okay.
Now, what you watched may have been stolen footage from this one that somebody put together to make their own fucking Satanic Panic video, because we found a lot of that going on. But this is specifically sent out to the police. Not by police, don't get me wrong, by Christian fundamentalists.
I'm Gordon Coulter. For many years, I served as a law enforcement officer. Today, it's my privilege.
Cop/pastor is the worst kind of person.
On a little-known area in law enforcement, but important to every small community and every large city across our vast country. It's the
so like all cops are bad, all cops/pastors are worse.
Worse, definitely worse.
Our children and our communities. In satanic occultism, that which is good is bad, and that which is bad is good. And as you view this learning and educational tape, pay attention.
I'm sorry,
notice
what?
the reverse of everything that is
It's a topsy-turvy world, man.
Abnormal. There are many crimes that are unsolved in our cities, and many of those crimes have ritualistic overtones, but they're hard to find, and it's difficult to find the depth of where these things go and who may have done them. And so today we hope to be able to shed some light on a dark, dark area. An area that has
all this time from like the mid 80s through the mid 90s, the FBI was like begging the police to stop doing like investigating this stuff because it didn't exist. They're like sending shit to police departments being like, there's no satanic rituals. They're like, we're the FBI and we really like to arrest people and we don't think we can arrest anyone for this.
Been taboo for so many years, that is also protected by the United States Constitution and the freedom of religion. That's why it's very difficult for us as law enforcement officers to really investigate. But the question really is, where do the freedoms end and our responsibilities begin for our community?
Well, as soon as people start hurting other people. Duh.
In an ideal world, yeah, but no, you don't have to hurt anyone to break the law.
Satanic cults and their various offshoots exist throughout the world. However, a difficulty immediately arises with the word cult. Many cults fall under the protection of the United States Constitution, the freedom of religion.
Yep.
When we talk of cults and Satanism from a law enforcement perspective, we have to tread lightly. That is one of the reasons it is so difficult to investigate satanic cult activities. We know what the satanic cult professes to believe. We know what their potential for violence might be if they choose to be true to their belief. We even have evidence, here and there, that leads us to believe that some sort of rituals are taking place. However, unless we catch them actually breaking the law, or find evidence that leads directly to participants in some illegal activity, we have no case.
You don't say.
That's what, yes, they're just describing police work there.
It is becoming a many-faceted puzzle confronting law enforcement today.
Is that a
Not only
mummy?
is it difficult for us to understand
I don't know.
the secret practices of satanic
Are mummies satanic?
There are deeper reasons that go beyond
Whatever that is cool.
power and the unlimited drugs and
My favorite thing about these videos is like some of the artwork they show to try to scare you is actually very cool artwork.
Yep.
sexual behavior that go with it. Unfortunately, the police investigator attempts to analyze these types of crimes with his routine of criminal investigation. In the cases of satanic practices involving deviant sexual behavior, the investigator forgets the offense was committed by an abnormal person influenced by many strange and complex motivations, and therefore, law enforcement's analysis of the crime and the criminal must be guided by the principles of abnormal sexology.
Wait, what? No. It's just
What?
consent. Wait, what the fuck is abnormal sexology?
Abnormal sexology. I've literally never even heard that term.
They probably made it up for this video. They made it up during the fucking satanic panic, I'm sure.
It is imperative that these cases be solved. They are vicious, revolting.
Like,
and
it's
create
fine
fear
if you're
in
not
individuals.
into BDSM,
Men
but
are
like,
apprehensive for the safety of their wives.
don't kink shame, especially if you're a cop.
Criminalizing somebody's shit is like the next step of kink shaming, right?
Yeah. The ultimate kink shame.
Mothers and daughters, women for their children and themselves. It is only through proper training that the police officer can hope to gain the ability to understand and recognize which are regular offenses and those that belong to cult behaviors.
Wait, but from a law enforcement, I mean, I'm not a law enforcement expert. From the perspective of like, if we had better or just law enforcement, why would it matter at all? Like, you know what I'm saying?
There are certain laws where the motivation that you had when you committed the crime matters,
Right.
But I think what they're talking about, it doesn't matter,
Right, because if you
right?
think
Because they're
if,
talking about like sex crimes,
Right.
You know, the crime of being too sexy.
if you think you're summoning a demon and then you go hurt somebody, it's irrelevant that you thought you summoned the demon, right?
Probably, unless you were like insane and didn't understand that like what you're doing was wrong.
Right. Well, criminal insanity is a different thing. You could, anyway, neither of us are legal experts, but I just don't think that there's any like real difference if you think you summoned a demon and then you go kill somebody, or you don't think you summoned a demon and you went and killed somebody. The result is still the same, right?
Yep. Yeah, and if you knew that you were doing the killing and you knew that that was illegal, or well, you knew it was like wrong, then prison. Period. There doesn't need to be a discussion
This
of why
is a law
you
enforcement problem.
you killed someone.
Therefore, all law enforcement officers should be familiar with the different types of degeneracy, so they'll be able
What?
to associate the type of criminal with the offense.
I'm sorry, degeneracy?
I think that, that's true. They should be familiar with the different types of degeneracy, but I'm talking about things like electron degeneracy pressure and like quark degeneracy pressure.
Oh, come on. There's like 18 people on the planet who are intimately familiar with that shit.
It's really cool because quark stars definitely exist. Damn it.
All right.
committed, and to properly charge and prosecute the criminal in an intelligent manner.
This is my jam.
So nothing that they showed in all of those images implied that there was any sort of crime going on. Like the ones that were real people, nothing criminal was taking place. And the ones that were like depictions of something that could be a crime, they were just depictions.
and most
And like
and they
drawing
had
a
things,
picture of a crime isn't illegal.
and they had things like goblins in them.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the technical term, but I'll call it a goblin.
There are three general areas and levels of involvement in satanic occult worship. The first would be dabblers. They're people who just use it for fun and games, may be involved in some video
That's a great word.
Like I just bought a Marilyn Manson CD, all right?
games and that kind of level, possibly a little graffiti.
I'm what's called a dabbler
The
cultist.
second level would be those that are involved for spiritual reasons, and they recognize that there's power in the worship of Satan.
But there
These
isn't.
people generally worship together and try to find the mystery of it all.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like
the third-
most people who call themselves Satanists don't actually believe in Satan.
Right, but they're not talking about like the modern, like basically, for lack of a better term, because I don't like Anton LaVey, but like LaVeyan Satanism, right? They're not talking about like the Satanic Temple. They literally think that the goth kids are worshiping the devil. I'm not. That's what they think. They think that your D&D game is devil worship. Like
this is very apt because I don't. Do you watch Stranger Things?
No, and this isn't like. No, but I heard this
The latest season was all about this.
Yeah, because the kids were of this time of the late 80s and early 90s. This was everywhere in the culture, so of course it was.
Yep.
Third level would be criminal involvement, and that's the area that interests us. These people actually believe that they gain power.
Not interested in the dabblers?
Through killing people through various rituals that are against the law in our states and in our country.
As opposed to other places where murder is legal.
Eric Pryor is a former satanic high priest.
And now he's concerned about ethics in game journalism.
Turned Christian, who now spends his time educating people about the
Is he really?
satanic.
No, but this is like the why I left the left template. This is a former Satanist going on tour. This guy. So definitely a why I left the left template.
When I was practicing occultist,
It's the right-wing grift shift.
Practice.
Oh, I know where that park is. That park's like halfway between like downtown and like Haight and Ashbury on Haight. I like that park.
Different holidays.
Either that or it's at the
lunar
top of Dubose.
holidays,
I can't tell. They both have
holidays.
stairs like
We'd
that.
actually have rituals in the park when we didn't have a space to do rituals indoor. So what I'd like to do is take you into the park and just kind of show you.
Yeah, the chat saying that they didn't know how to balance audio levels. You know what's crazy is that I'm stepping on this video too to try to balance out the audio levels. And yeah, it's definitely not.
Start looking to see, what the occultists.
Oh, look at that map. Oh, they should have had a car going by on the bottom.
Use this park.
Oh, putt.
One is the pagan or occultic community, and the other community.
That's like a GTA 3 map.
Interestingly enough, they go hand in hand, and so see, here you go.
He's like, look at this thing that I painted on this tree before we did this.
Upon entering the park, I mean,
It's conveniently right where the camera was going to be looking as they climbed the hill and shit. It's not even upside down either. This guy was never a Satanist.
And now that I've reached my mark, I'm just going to gesture toward this thing that happens to be right there.
Yeah, this is fucking so scripted.
Already got started. Okay. This is a pentacle. The interesting thing about this pentacle is it's an upright pentacle. This is not a satanic pentacle. Now, the reason why this pentacle would not be considered satanic.
Wouldn't it be great if you got fined for spray painting a tree?
Now, Satanists would reverse this star, or pentacle as it's called, and have 2 points up. Those
Is it really reversed, or is it just rotated a little bit?
And or the horns of Satan.
Hey, now don't get too technical with these people and the geometry, dude.
There's a inverted cross. Now this is satanic.
All this stuff just happens to be like right here.
Let me see. It's actually fairly fresh too.
Yeah, because you put it there 20 minutes ago.
Of course, is
It's actually fairly fresh.
Of Christianity.
Sneaks the bottle of spray paint back into his pocket.
Obviously, they probably had a party or a ritual here within the past night.
But no, you're just at the top of the stairs in the middle of San Francisco. You can't have a party or a ritual there. You're just in a park that everybody walks their dog in, you weirdo.
Like, did he think it wasn't obvious that he spray painted those?
I don't know. This is before the internet. People would believe, oh, wait, no, that's not right. Oh, I don't know.
They'll mark. It's almost like a path. They'll mark a path.
What do you mean? It's almost like a path? You're walking on a path.
The colors they'll use will be white, red, and black. Those are
that's like our logos.
Colors of the satanic movement. And basically, well, okay, over here, see? Here you go.
Some more stuff that I spray painted.
Well, see, this is what I'm talking about.
It is.
Okay, what you're looking at here is called voodoo.
I think that's hopscotch.
This
It's
is
fucking.
kind
It's
of
like
a coat
it's like
of
fucking
arms,
goth hopscotch.
if you will, for the demonic.
Goth
And,
scotch.
the
Goth scotch.
implications of
Hop
this
goth?
is definitely satanic. When I showed you earlier the one pointed up star as we first came in, and I told you that, you know, the implications of Satanism are 2 points up. As you can see, there are 2 points up here. And so
Unless you look at it the other way, and then it's a regular pentacle with 999 written under it.
They
Yeah.
were probably worshiping
999 and
Set.
Tess.
It says Set here, so it's pretty obvious. Now, this here, if I'm not mistaken, looks like a money VV. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were here on the park doing a money ritual. And
That's what you're doing is a money
this
ritual.
very
This is a
typical
grift.
kind of thing that you can expect
Total
to
grift.
see, not only on crime scenes, but in areas where occultists hang out. Like gang graffiti, occultists kind of communicate to each other through their
Why do they
graffiti.
keep showing this
On
map?
the rise there.
It's
up
a map
here
of the
is-
park,
is a
dude.
very flat area.
I have no context.
concrete area.
That doesn't help me
that is-
visualize anything.
Often I even
They're not showing where he is on that map.
practice. Well,
It's
there you
just
go.
some random
You
map.
can see from here 666 and an eye. Now that eye,
Yo, that actually looked like
There's a swastika there.
swastika.
Egyptian eye.
Did he paint the
eye of
swastika?
Anubis.
Probably not.
I can tell by looking at this eye that these people that were up here were into ceremonial magic. These aren't witches. These are definitely Satanists. You look at
Okay.
These dumpsters. See, this is how they talk to each other. Now,
They could just
Is
talk
the
to each
thing
other.
zooming out from where he is on the map?
Yeah.
Is that what's
This-
going
this is
on?
how
I think they think that,
Okay.
I think that helps you.
okay, but now this is how occultists talk to each other.
But that's a
This here
mushroom.
is
That's how people who get high talk to each other.
So probably,
That is a drug,
They
sir.
had a psilocybin ritual, which is not uncommon. Occultists are known for using peyote and psilocybin, and so this was probably a psilocybin ritual. Okay, here you go.
Yes, people were out there on shrooms.
Shem Hemfarash
Uh-huh.
is a satanic invocation, and Halley is also part of a satanic invocation. There is a book out called The Greater Key of Solomon, and in the
Do you
Greater
think
Key
he
of
spray
Solomon,
painted that
you will
one?
see on the seal of Solomon this word.
I don't
From what I
know.
can tell,
Because if he did, then he brought 2 cans of spray
and
paint.
everything that I've seen, and what I see here on the concrete, it looks like they actually had the ritual here. Now, there's an N here for north,
What?
and there's an S over here for south.
But those
Now,
aren't.
while these
b-
are
fu-
not
wait,
the true
no. You
directions,
pointed
obviously
like
someone had a
90
bad sense
degrees.
of direction.
That's not how north and south work.
I'm assuming that this is where they actually had their ritual. One of the reasons why they would use this particular area to have a ritual is it is on concrete, and it's a nice open area.
By have a ritual,
We
does
used to
he
come
mean
up
just
and,
like take
have
drugs?
rituals,
I think so, yeah.
and we had a
Okay.
group. We would look for an open, flat space. This is an open, flat space. This would be an ideal place.
They probably had
for
like
them to have ritual.
like a rave there, like a
Now, if I
renegade
was a
party there.
solo occult practitioner,
It was
I might
1994.
do
It was the-
in
it
was the
the
year.
bushes somewhere and have
I
a
don't
little
think
office
anyone
there.
was around there.
So
I
what
think
you're
he's
doing is
making
when you
all of
come
this
onto
up.
a scene and you're investigating.
Well, this is in the middle of San
you look
Francisco.
on the
People went
ground and
there.
You'll find clues as to what.
Yeah,
happened.
but like the
right
places
here.
where he tagged, no
we
one
have a
no one
rope
was there.
This is a noose. And actually, if you look at it closely, I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but there's blood on this noose. Now,
Or red spray
this
paint.
could have been used either to bind someone up in some type of a ritual scourging, or it could have actually been used on an animal.
Ritual what?
That
Orgy.
was sacrificed.
Orgy?
Sacrificing a cat or a dog. Of course, animals
not a noose.
move around a lot and they get
Fucking-
unruly, so they would tie it up. But there is blood all over this particular noose.
Except
Now,
there
these are
isn't.
the kind of things that you'd be looking for. What we have here.
Yeah, I didn't see any blood, but also
medicine
like
bottle.
if there were a bloody noose, why would he be picking it up? Like it's pretty clear that that was not actually a bloody noose.
It's pretty clear to me that he's planting all of this stuff.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, that wasn't an actual bloody noose. You wouldn't just be picking it up and handling it if you just found that on the ground.
Xylocaine. For those of you with medical knowledge, you would know xylocaine, known as lidocaine, is a numbant. It's used to numb people,
Numbant.
and for that matter, animals. And of course,
I'm pretty sure I have seen this one.
Sacrifice an animal or a human, for that matter, in a public place.
I remember that word, numbant.
Screaming.
Numbant.
So it's not uncommon for occultists to use something like this, and of course, here we have it. On this tree here, we have some more graffiti. It's in red, which is a classical satanic color. Now,
Or just a commonly
Okay, yeah,
available.
so he did bring two spray
9
spray
represents
cans.
9 satanic statements. You can find this in...
Hey, is that guy walking by a Satanist?
Which is called the Satanic Bible, and you will see that there are 9 satanic statements.
He's just like trying to go to work.
The way occultists tell each other, hey, we're Satanists, and we're partying.
The 9 Satanic Statements from the Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey. Number 1. Satan represents indulgence instead of abstinence.
Nice.
Number 2. Satan represents vital existence instead of spiritual pipe dreams.
Nice.
Number 3. Satan represents undefiled wisdom instead of hypocritical self-deceit.
Okay.
Number
I'm with it so far.
I need
Satan
some weed.
represents
I'll be back in a
kindness
sec.
to those who deserve it instead of love wasted on ingrates. Number 5. Satan represents vengeance instead of turning the other cheek. Number 6. Satan
That one, I don't
represents
know.
responsibility to the responsible instead of
Case-by-case basis.
psychic vampires. Number 7.
Psychic
Satan represents
vampires?
man as just another animal, sometimes better, more often worse than those that walk on all fours, who, because of his divine spiritual and intellectual development, has become the most vicious animal of all.
That's true.
Aside from the word divine, I agree with that completely.
Number 8. Satan represents all of the so-called sins, as they all lead to physical, mental, or emotional gratification. And number 9. Satan has been the best friend the church has ever had, as he has kept it in business all these years.
Like people are looking at that as if it's not like a joke, kind of, right? As if it's not meant to be kind of funny.
Yeah, that last one is like serious shade thrown at the church.
Up the map again.
This is the symbol for the Church of Satan, and this is kind of like...
Or just a picture of an antenna.
That looked like an antenna to me.
It's an
One of those
antenna.
old ones you stick on your roof to get TV.
I mean, how else do you tune into Satan?
Have affiliations with the Church of Satan, or perceive themselves to have affiliations.
It did look like an antenna with balls, so
indicates Satanism.
maybe someone strapped some truck nuts onto that antenna.
Different configurations and markings, but this gives you a good example of what to look for. First, upon entering,
They're getting their money's worth with this map.
cross were displayed. Second, further up the path, we found a voodoo vivi, which indicated a money.
It's just goth hopscotch.
Third, at the open cement areas that are common to satanic activity, we found graffiti that showed recent activity. In addition, we found a bloody noose and a xylocaine.
Somebody in chat was saying that's actually a slip knot and not a noose. That it might have just been used for
On the way
something.
out of the park, we found another inverted cross and the number 9, which, as we demonstrated, represents the 9 satanic statements.
You're covering your
of
map.
The Satanic Bible. Fifth and finally, we
An
found
antenna,
markings indicating that
so
the
that you
Yeah,
can-
that is definitely an antenna with balls.
It's so you can tune into Satan.
Behind
And
me
he's
is the
stepping
city
on
of
one of the
San
balls.
Francisco, a city known for the first satanic church.
You know,
in
getting your
America.
balls stepped on is a
And They
fetish.
established this church
Maybe he's into
under
that.
the freedoms of our country in 1966 and wrote the Satanic Bible.
Fantastic.
Anton LaVey, perhaps the best-known Satanist in America, compiled his years of cult knowledge into 2 of Satanism's most important handbooks, the Satanic Bible and a companion, the Satanic Rituals. The general practice of Satanism promotes three basic areas of attraction: gratification of flesh,
Fuck yeah.
gratification of ego,
I mean, come on. What else? What else? Why else did I build this?
power. Some Satanists, and a significant number of others, feel that Satanism is a viable way of getting supernatural help because they are too
Well, those people are
distant from
crazy.
the good God to have any hope of
But
reaching.
they have every right to believe that.
The good God and his virtues, such as beauty and joy, are essentially impractical. And
Yeah, that's right. Satanists don't like anything that's beautiful. Come on.
would be easier to catch the notice of an evil God than a good one.
To better understand Satanism, it might be appropriate to talk about some of the initiation practices for Satanists. And to better understand them, you would take a look at what might be traditional Christianity or some normal faith, and if you reversed it, it would be something that Satanists would embrace.
Initiation into Satanism or a similar cult usually includes a spoken denial of the Christian faith, generally accompanied by saying the Lord's Prayer backwards.
Wait, I've never even heard that. Ever.
Saying the Lord's Prayer backwards?
Like, do you have to pronounce each word backwards and say that in reverse? Like, or do you just say the words in reverse? Or like, how do you, like, what if you can't do it? You know, like when the, like it's like a DUI test before they give you the breathalyzer. Like, can you say the alphabet backwards? And the answer, they don't want you to be like Z. They want you to be like no. You're like, I can't. I don't remember it backwards. I remember it forward. Or the answer they want is I can't do that sober. But the answer is no when they ask you to say the alphabet. You go, I can't say the alphabet backwards.
Yeah. Would it be enough to just say it forwards and then record that and play it backwards?
I don't know. I mean, in our current age, yeah, you could just. I'm not going to say the Lord's Prayer. I don't even know the fuck which one the Lord's Prayer is. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
If
I don't
somebody
know
wrote
either.
it out for me backwards, I could read it.
I think if you say the Lord's Prayer and then play it backwards, it plays like a rock song or something.
No, it's like forward masking. Forward masking. It's a Hell's Bells.
Yeah.
Rebaptism in Satan's name and taking a new name to replace the given Christian name. An oath of allegiance to Satan while standing in a magic
I don't have a
entering
Christian
the
name.
initiate's name in the Book of Death.
Does that mean I can't join Satanism?
Sacrifice children to Satan and marking the
Are they just talking about that movie Eyes Wide Shut? I don't know what's going on here.
I think so. Like, we just went from 0 to 100 in this last one. It's like, you know, you gotta like say you don't like God and then like change your name and then slaughter children. It's like, whoa. One of these things is not like the other.
And look, the devil's mark. It's the mark of the beast. Is it a barcode?
with the devil's mark.
I think they mean tattoos.
This program is designed to help law
Can we use henna
officers better
if we're afraid of
understand
needles?
Satanic cults. Now remember, all satanic people do not commit crimes. Some of their activities are perfectly legal. But there
All
are some
satanic
things that
people
some
do not
Satanists
commit
do
crimes.
that lead to illegal behavior, and some of them seem rather innocent on the surface. Some of those things might be just simple vandalism or trespass.
I mean, he said it. All satanic people do not commit crimes. So there you go.
Mutilations and sacrifice.
Case closed. It wasn't the
Kidnapping, whether
Satanists.
they're adults or children or even kidnapping of animals. Rape. Molestation.
Whoa, what the fuck?
Child abuse. Child sexual abuse that may be different than
They're just throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks right here.
ritual abuse.
I mean, according to this, then yeah, I guess everybody who does a bad is a Satan.
Yep. All crimes. Satanists. So wait, he just said all Satanists do not commit crimes, and now he's saying these are the crimes that Satanists commit?
He's just going to list every crime. These are just you don't like not Satanists commit these crimes too. This is just a list of crimes.
Murder, which might include human sacrifice.
I think this was before it came out that the Catholics were protecting their they're child raping priests.
Before it became common knowledge, I'm sure at this point some people in the know were in the know.
Yeah.
Sexual trafficking of children.
This is like a QAnon video.
Theft. Cemetery
Corpse theft?
Yeah, that's okay. That's weird. No, corpse theft.
Corpse? Wait, like stealing a corpse?
Yeah, not
or
like
stealing from a corpse.
No, that corpse has a nice watch.
Yeah, like what are we talking about here?
Oh, I mean,
are corpses valuable?
The corpse theft leads to the black market sale of bones and skulls.
Okay.
Sales of bones and skulls. Black market baby selling.
Is it illegal to sell a bone?
Okay, hold on. Black market baby selling is straight fucking. It's again QAnon. Just pulled this thing right here directly from the Satanic Panic.
Yep. But is it illegal to sell a bone? I don't think it is. On like it's against eBay's policies to sell a bone on eBay. I think Craigslist is fine with it.
Like, listen, we can presume that they mean selling bones that you don't have a legal right to because you grave robbed to get those bones. We can safely like presume
corpse robbed.
Yeah, you corpse robbed to get those bones. That yeah, I think that's what they probably mean.
Pedophilia, pornography.
Pornography's fine. Torture's bad.
Yeah, one of these things is very much not like the other. Well, actually, two of them. Selling bones and porn are fine.
Human slavery, like, okay.
Slavery.
What is church desecration?
Weapons violations.
Just weapons violations of any kind are a sign of Satanism. What the fuck does this mean? He's got a bazooka, must be a Satanist. Remember that guy that stole the tank and drove it around San Diego? Satanist.
Must have been.
That's a weapons violation, right? Tank's a weapon.
Yep.
Suicides.
Not a Satanist anymore.
Animal parts. Illegal entry.
Well, wait. How? Hold on. What do you mean disposing of animal parts? How do you get rid of animal parts if you have them?
Right. And does he mean like throwing a chicken bone away?
Yeah. Like, does he mean like you sacrifice an animal and throw away its parts, or does he mean like you eat and you throw away the parts that you don't eat?
I'm just telling you, this list is long, and I can't believe that like any police department anywhere like took this seriously. Illegal entry into monasteries and cemeteries. That's just like people just go hang out at cemeteries all the time. Like kids do that all the time. They think it's spooky.
Yep.
And some cemeteries are fucking like, they're like works of art and shit. Like some cemeteries are beautiful. So like, yeah, you trespass there because you want to check out the shit at this awesome cemetery. Like,
also, didn't they cover that earlier?
I think so. No, they just covered general trespassing.
They're just like
the first one they said.
Shit.
I think it was the first one they said was just general trespassing.
In cemeteries, necrophilia, or having sex with dead people.
Oh, yikes.
These things may or may not be satanic kinds of rituals, but
some of them were just like, one of them was just like trespassing. That was the first one.
In a fabric,
and one of them was porn.
Might indicate a deeper need.
There's nothing wrong with porn.
Dark side of your community. So note them well and ask the investigators to do a little further follow-up if you find any of these indicated in a crime or in a police report.
Oh no. Candles. A table. Spoons.
There is a difference between Satanism, voodoo, and witchcraft. And what I'd like to do is show you different altar setups so you can familiarize yourself with how these people operate and their various different paraphernalia. These particular groups that I'm going to show you the different altar setups of are the type of groups that would most probably be involved in criminal activity. While you wouldn't find all this stuff at a crime scene, you will find evidence that they have been at a crime scene. For instance, you might find something like this pin here. which is used to penetrate a pulpit like we have sitting here.
Wait, what?
But then again, there are other
I don't
things
see
that
what
might be
he's
left
talking about.
behind that-
But that's
Is
just
he holding something in his right hand?
that's just a candle you buy at like the Mexican market. What the fuck is he talking about? That's just like one of those saints candles or whatever, right?
Yeah. It's got a picture of the Virgin Mary on it.
Yeah, that's just
would indicate voodoo. Now, voodoo is colorful and usually beads.
Okay, so he was holding something.
With it.
It just wasn't
What you're looking at
visible.
Here is two small conch
that's a little
shells
head.
beads. Now, this is what a priest would put on the necklace, such as I'm wearing
those
here.
are puka shells. What is this a guy named Zach who surfs?
This would indicate high priesthood. You might find conches like this with beads.
Surfer Zach is a high priest of
You might
Satanism.
find powders like this left behind. And this is the type of stuff that would usually be left behind in a crime scene. You're not going to find candles intact, and if you do,
He's got cigarette butts on the
you might find a
table.
candle very similar to the one I'm holding here.
What does that have to
Now,
do
you
with
might look at
Satanism?
this candle and say, well, what makes this candle different? Well, first of all, any candle that's used in Santeria, Macumba, or Voodoo generally will have a patron saint on the front. Now, this is the saint that they would be paying obeisances to, you know, lighting the nicotine up to, drinking the rum to, and smoking the cigar smoke to. But on the back,
So if you have Catholic
have a
candles
patrons.
and cigarette butts, you must be a Satanist.
And it looks like what are these? Is these cans of tea?
to candles used in Santeria, Macumba, and Voodoo. Another thing that you might find would be small vials like this. These vials will contain some type of a ritual oil.
It's just essential oils. You just found someone who's basic.
Usually these oils are poured over a coal in a ritual practice. You might find a lot of empty.
All your local Hunbots are
ritual
Satanists now.
What you're looking at here is a classical satanic altar setup. Now, there are more than one type of satanic group. There are rogue satanic groups where you have a bunch of young people that get together and they read books such as the Satanic Bible by Anton Sanzer LaVey, or some of the stuff that is published by the Temple of Set, which is also another large church of Satan.
Oh, that's got that
now
Aquino
it's
guy with the cool
organized.
eyebrows. You know, is it
Has
Michael
an
Aquino, who was like a CIA agent or something, pretending to be in the Temple of Set? And I just thought it was interesting that everybody believed the CIA agent.
Way of setting up its altar. What you're looking at here is a classical satanic altar setup. It's very Spartan. 2 candle holders. One candle would have a white, one would have a black. You'd have a
Is this guy just like riffing right now?
Or a
I mean, yeah, of course he's making this up. He's winging it, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, why wouldn't he? Wouldn't you?
is what it's called. You would have
Yeah, he's like,
now
wait,
candle,
you'll pay me for this?
left-hand
And all I
side,
have to do is go to Party
female
City.
candle on the right-hand side. You would
Maybe
have
the
a
flea market.
skull, which is considered the barrier of death, and a bell to ring for each one of the 9 satanic statements. And they would ring.
Dinner time. Soup's on.
You would also have
Human soup.
ceremonial daggers. One ceremonial dagger is actually used in directing the forces of magic, the way occultists would do that, as in directing their powers. And the other dagger, which would be called a bolane, would actually be used in ritual work. If I were going to sacrifice someone, I would use
Yeah, this definitely reminds me of Dare 2.
working knife.
Oh, we could watch an old Dare video during the post game.
You're always going to
There's
look
got to be an old
for
Dare video.
2 knives.
I'm down.
Okay,
If you're
what
listening to the
looking at here
podcast, you're
is
going to miss a
basic
Dare video.
setup. Now, the difference is
Follow us on
you
Twitch.
don't see the bells. You don't see the Satanic Bible. And you'll see a couple extra things here.
Tarot
For
cards.
instance, most witches are very adept at using the tarot. Witches are
Tarot.
very big
The tarot.
on
It's the tarot.
an art called scrying or fortune telling. Another interesting addition is that, notice, the candle holders are wooden. Witches perceive themselves to be nature-centered religious belief systems, so that they use
Okay, but the goblets are
natural
metal.
elements as possible. The other thing is, instead of having a ceremonial dagger like we have here that would be used in Satanism, they would just use a very simple one dagger. That's called an athame. Now, the athame is used when they charge the wine, which would be in the chalice. The athame would be used when they charge the wine, which would be in the chalice.
Uh-huh.
The salt, which would be in the salt bowl, and the water, which would be in the water bowl,
Okay.
as well as the incense. Another interesting addition we have here,
This is the weirdest cooking show I've ever seen.
This is spirit cooking, sir. Spirit cooking.
and the center for any witchcraft altarpiece will have either Kyrinus, which is the god of the witches, or Diana. Another thing that witches will often have on their altar
You couldn't even buy the one that wasn't broken.
is a mortar and pestle, because they work a lot with pharmakeia, or various different incenses. Now, this is an incense we have here that would be used in ritual practice. Notice they're very bright in color. There are many different
My old
kinds.
roommate used to burn incense. Maybe he's a
Things that
Satanist.
You might find left over at a crime scene. You might find little piles of colored, it looks like chalk, but it's not chalk. It's actually incense. And if you were to take it and smell it, it usually has a very fragrant smell.
Did you just do some coke off of that knife?
Is usually there's chalk.
Incense has
There's usually a
fragrant
piece of red
smell.
chalk and a piece of white chalk. This is used to draw a circle.
Well, you
around
could
the
draw
ritual
many things
area,
with chalk.
and it's called a boundary between the worlds. And then what they will do is make various different magical symbols in those circles, believing that these symbols will seal off an area. Now, witches are known for their artwork, their drawing of symbols, their use of colored powders, and of course the use of natural products like wooden candle holders, even wooden knives. And so this would be more indicative of witchcraft. As you have seen, the difference between the items you might find on an altar from the various different occult styles is subtle. When you pay attention, you'll see.
Hey, boss, I found a kitchen knife. Is that satanic?
These differences will
Might be.
give you the understanding
I'm going to go with
of the
yes.
type
That's
of group
satanic.
you're dealing with. And when you know the type of group you're dealing with, you'll also learn to understand how they think, where they'll congregate, and where they'll be.
Okay, but why? Like, he's not talking about any crimes. He's talking about people burning incense and cooking some very
There are many
strange
different
food, I
satanic
guess.
Here are a few of the more common ones.
The check's going to clear either way, HK.
The inverted cross. This is used to defame the Christian religions. In a righted position, Christ's head would be looking up towards heaven. In this position, it would point downward towards Satan and hell. By
All right.
defaming a Christian symbol, the thought is that power is taken away. The numbers 666. According to the Bible, these numbers, 666, are the mark of the beast.
All right.
The pentagram.
Oh, it's a goat.
This
I love
inverted
goats.
star points downward towards hell and Satan. It is a popular symbol, but has no meaning other than a satanic one, and there may be many different versions. The voodoo vivi, as we saw.
Wait, it has no meaning other than a satanic one? I find that hard to believe.
Me too. Also, like, they shouldn't be hating on goth hopscotch like this.
It represents the type of ritual that occurs. The anarchy, which is the symbol of rebellion.
Anarchy is Satanist?
No, that's not Satanism. That's literally just Nazis. This is the swastika. This is not
In
Satanism.
past history, this symbol has been used by witches and warlocks as a magic emblem. A glossary.
As I recall, the Nazis were very Christian.
Yeah, but I mean that symbol does have a longer history. They're not wrong there. It's just that they're using it definitely using it, understanding that people are going to associate it with the Nazis, right?
Yeah.
The altar. A table used for satanic rituals, normally a table of
But don't they have an altar at a
but can
church?
also be a nude physical female being. The Antichrist. The Bible's book of Revelations describes him as the son of Satan who will return and be present to receive his powers and challenge Jesus Christ during his second coming. The Baphomet. Described as a deity in the form of a goat-headed god with
Fuck
the
yeah.
wings of angels, the breasts of a female, and carrying a torch.
Why are they describing the Antichrist? Are they saying that the Antichrist is real?
Probably.
Are they saying that any of this is real? Like, none of this shit is real.
I'm going to go with I don't think that most of these people involved in the production of this believe in like a literal Satan, but I do think that a lot of the people believe that we're watching this. A lot of people at this time believed the bullshit in this video about these rituals being like related to crimes, especially crimes against children, because it's just blood libel. You know, that's the same old shit, man.
I think they believed in a literal Satan.
Okay. I don't know. I think these people probably believe in $29.95 plus shipping and handling. Honestly.
Black magic. Magic that is used for destruction and hate. Black Mass. The most diabolical ritual that can be performed by a Satanist. It entails a blasphemous communion with Satan, desecration of artifacts of Christianity, a mockery of the Holy Bible, and all things that Christians religiously cherish. The ceremonies involve rape and sexual assault, sodomy, animal and human sacrifices, and often the slaughter of unbaptized infants.
No.
Blood.
I'll take things that didn't happen for 1,000.
Satanists believe that the drinking of another person's blood or that of an animal increases their power and provides life force directly to Satan.
There are literal recipes that call for animal blood. They're like in a Julia Child cookbook. Was that the fucking Satanic Panic cookbook?
The circle is the Satanists' protection from the forces they conjure up during their summons.
That's just any circle.
Temptations.
Just a circle.
Coven. A group of non-traditional Satanists, not normally exceeding 13. Traditional Satanists do not have covens. Cult. A group of people who follow a leader who, through his charismatic ways, command allegiance, belief, and worship. Infamous leaders include Hitler, Crowley, Jim Jones, and David Koresh.
Why you gotta throw Aleister Crowley under the bus like that?
Are they saying that Hitler was a Satanist?
No, a cult leader.
Okay, but they're implying that Hitler was a Satanist.
They just said he's a cult leader. They gave examples of cult leaders.
Okay.
But they would probably say that he was a Satanist, sure.
Name of Satan, Lucifer, Leviathan, Prince of Darkness.
Okay.
Goat's head, the symbolic identification of Satan in the world.
Just the head of a goat.
Countless Satanists in one order or organization.
A grotto?
Hand of glory, the left hand of a person who has died. The hand is removed from the body, pickled, and mummified. It is then used to ward off evil spirits.
Oh, I think it would draw in evil spirits.
Satanists believe that the head is the most important part of the body. They often eat the brain to receive powers of the deceased person.
No.
The heart.
That's how prion diseases happen. Don't eat brains. It's dangerous.
The center of life. By eating the heart, they believe that assumption of the deceased's characteristics and powers will be thus transferred. Host. Normally using blessed communion wafers, symbolic of the body of Christ, Satanists insert them into the vagina of the altar.
Oh, what the fuck?
Physically stomp, thus desecrating Christian beliefs.
What the fuck?
That's not what host means.
Like,
Host is another computer that's acting as a server.
or like the person at the restaurant who asks how many people in your party.
Lucifer.
Or just someone who invites you over.
Heaven, he was followed by 1/3 of all the angels. Pagans, those who practice witchcraft, the worship of nature as well as multiple gods. Satan, an angel created by God, cast out of heaven, and now the object of worship by Satanists throughout the world. Succubus, a female demonic force that copulates with human males. Incubus, a male demonic force that copulates with human females. And witchcraft, the practice of the old religion which focuses on the goddess in her many forms.
Okay.
Wait, who's the goddess?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
More things that didn't happen.
Here, it's about to get weird. I mean, it's about to get real weird.
They're about to accuse Satanists of horrible things.
One of the most despicable crimes in general, and in particular among Satanists, is that involving a child. In every state in the nation, there are reports and investigations of satanic crime and satanic ritual abuse. More than 2 million American children each year are reported missing.
Okay, this shit, that's a QAnon shit they were doing too. The problem is, like, the vast majority of those people that are reported missing, it's either custody disputes or not even a dispute, just a fucking misunderstanding between co-parents of who's supposed to have what kids when, because maybe they're busy and dad goes and picks the kid up and then the kid isn't at school when mom goes to pick the kid up. Mom goes and reports the kid missing. That's like most of them are like that.
And they turn up found right away.
Right away. No, within like 48 hours.
Yeah.
Even a dispute, it's like I mean, yeah, if dad is co-parenting with mom and then mom or dad like takes the kid and doesn't want to give the kid back, that's bad. But usually nothing's going to happen to the kid. You know what I'm saying? The kid's just being treated as a possession, but they're not being like abused. They never like, they should be using like this many kids were abducted last year. It would be but then the number gets smaller and it's not as terrifying, right?
Yeah, I mean it's still awful, but it doesn't sound as terrifying.
Right, the number's just lower. Yeah. But 2 million kids reported missing at this time. Yeah, kids get reported missing and then get found all the time. They're at the neighbor's house. They're fucking at a friend's. I mean, who knows? There's all kind of, you know what I'm saying? There's all kind of places that this kid could be where there no harm comes to them and there's just a misunderstanding.
And you're right. It's like QAnon looked at this video as a training manual.
Right. But funny enough, it wasn't the Q person posting this, because the Q person posting this didn't lean into this stuff very hard at all. It was the followers and the propagandists, the bakers they were calling them, that were leaning into this stuff. People like Liz Crokin and what's that guy's name? I forget all the name of the QAnon people. QAnon John, Joe M, like all of those people, Jordan Sather, all the people that were doing, they were the ones talking about this stuff because they were doing the satanic panic.
Of them too young to be runaways. In addition, more than 5,000 unidentifiable bodies of children are found annually in the United States.
Right, but how recently? No, I don't believe that number. But also, like, are we talking like in archaeological digs? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what does the number mean? Right, I'm not kidding. Like, what does the number mean? Were they murder victims, or are we finding just bones of people who lived before and are dead now?
Yeah, throwing out statistics without any sort of context around them, is QAnon tactic, which I guess they learned from this.
Physical abuse was a part of keeping me silent. My fingers were burned on a stove. I was forced to watch pets killed and put in an oven, and I was told that if I talked, the same thing would happen to me.
But I don't believe her.
Dismember bodies and then hang me upside down over a vat. I think it was acid, I'm not sure, but there were...
A vat of acid? What is this?
And they told me they would lower me
Austin Powers?
into the acid if I ever talked about this. And one memory I had, in order to get the blood, they used me as the person to get the blood from.
This is either a person who's lying or just very disturbed and has been convinced that some kind of some kind of abuse situation was satanic.
And I would be bled so that they could...
Do you think it was
Another way to
like,
keep me silent,
you know how
was to
people
use a gun.
went through that thing where they were implanting people's memories in people's heads about being abused?
Well, it's like implanting is but that's like false memory syndrome, right? Where you would talk to like a therapist or somebody, and you may have had some kind of trauma happen to you when you were young that maybe you haven't resolved or whatever, and you were somehow convinced that it was this shit. Maybe nobody even did it on purpose, right? Because everybody was caught up in this panic about this.
Yeah.
Pornography, child prostitution brings in big money, and I was not to talk about that either, and I was threatened to be killed if I talked, as well as burned. They use cigarettes and other forms of burning to keep me silent. And I had a pet bird that they killed in front of me. And then I was put in a cage. And so as a young child, I made the association that if I were in a cage, then I must be like the bird. And if they can kill the bird, they can easily kill me too. Remembering comes out in poetry as well. And my pet bird was killed in front of me. And I was also forced to participate in the murder of babies.
Yeah, I think this person probably suffered some kind of trauma and then was convinced that it was this Satan shit.
To talk about that.
Yeah. I don't think that this happened.
I think maybe aspects of it are true. You know what I'm saying? Like certain specifics, like maybe the cigarette burns, because people have done that to kids, you know?
Mad at me. Must pretend I do not see. Nothing happened. Don't remember. Helter skelter. Now dismember.
No, little kid. This is not a poem written by a young kid. No way.
Mustn't talk. It will be my turn.
This music is wild. Big Casio vibes.
Symptoms characterizing satanic ritual abuse and sexual abuse in preschool-aged children. Low self-esteem, feeling of being bad. Child feels deserving of punishment. Child is fearful, clingy, regresses to baby behavior. Separation anxiety. The child is angry. And
So far, none of this even seems to be like things you would associate with any kind of abuse. It's just children acting out because they're kids.
Yeah, abuse would not be my first assumption.
So far.
If a child was displaying these symptoms.
These behaviors so far. If I remember, this gets a little dark.
Aggressive. The child acts wild, uncontrolled, hyperactive. The child is accident prone or deliberately hurts himself. The child is negativistic, resistant to authority. The child mistrusts adults.
So far, I like the kid. Actually, whatever they're talking about, like that kid's cool. Doesn't trust nobody. Fucking cynical.
The child is over-compliant with authority, over-pleasing with adults.
So the teacher's pet.
The child has rapid mood changes. The child is withdrawn, does not play, or plays in a lethargic or unfocused way.
Kid's just spaced out.
I feel like this is like a what's it called? The thing you read in the newspaper about yourself, and it's so specific,
Like
or
a
it's so
horoscope?
vague it applies to everyone. Yeah,
a horoscope.
This is like a horoscope. They're just throwing out like everything, so it applies to everyone.
The child exhibits a short attention span. The child does not learn. The child's speech is regressed and babyish. He has delayed speech or speech disorder. The child's speech production decreases significantly.
It just sounds like a learning disability or something.
Yeah.
There are somatic complaints, stomach aches, nausea and vomiting, nightmares, and sleep disorders. The child is fearful of being touched, fears having genital area.
What the fuck?
That's the first one that was actually unusual. Like all the other things are relatively usual for children.
Yeah, these two.
Touches or tries
or at least
fingers into his rectum.
None of the other ones would imply anything more than, like you said, developmental disabilities.
And this one here, it just depends on the age of the kid. Because young kids just like to take their pants off. Like, that's just what they do.
Yeah.
Pulls up her dress or takes off clothes inappropriately. The child touches others sexually or asks for sex.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, that is a serious sign of abuse.
This one seems weird. Like, I think the problem isn't with the child. If you think the child is sexually productive,
seductive.
Yeah, this isn't a problem with the kid at all, right? This is a problem with the adults around. If that's what they think is going on here.
Sexually provocative or seductive. He or she complains of vaginal, anal pain, burning when washed or when urinating or defecating.
That one's a real one.
Semen or bloodstains are found on the child's underwear. Detailed and age-inappropriate understanding of sexual behavior.
The first one is like a real big red flag. The second one is like, I don't know, kids know shit that you don't know they're gonna know. Kids know shit that you don't think they're gonna know. They hear it from other kids, like.
Hints about sexual activity.
Again, that's a problem with the adult listening to the kid. The hints one. Because
what does that mean?
It's in the perception of the adults around, right?
The child complains that an adult or older child is bothering them. A reference to blood or white stuff in genital area. A statement that someone had removed the child's clothing.
That's a pretty big red flag.
A statement that an older child or adult exposed themselves.
Yeah, these are real.
Yeah, why would they start the list off with a whole bunch of things that were like normal? If they were just going to go into things that are actual signs.
I think they want to conflate them. So that you think everybody's a Satan.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, it doesn't require a lot of assumptions.
A child's statement that he or she touched an older child.
Yeah, this is absolutely, these are to be investigated. Yeah.
Etc. A statement that an older child or adult touched or penetrated the child's bottom, vagina, rectum, mouth, etc.
Yep, that's the kid telling.
That the child witnessed sex acts. On medical,
like again, all of the first things were not signs, and then all of these are signs.
Rather than tenses rectum.
So, like you said, I think they're just trying to conflate the two.
Yeah, they're trying to conflate these things, definitely.
On medical examination, enlargement of vaginal opening, vaginal laceration or scarring in girls, sore penis in boys, blood or trauma in the genital area.
But these aren't, the problem with this stuff is this has nothing to do with the cops either. This is
On medical exam, venereal disease.
like these are the last ones were all like a doctor and like a medical professional would get the police involved and explain these things to the police, right?
Can I also say
all of the signs of self-involvement.
pregnancy is a sign that a child has been raped? It's an undeniable sign. And there were a bunch of people, you know, the 10-year-old in Utah who had to travel out of state to get an abortion because they made it illegal in Utah for pregnant 10-year-old girls to get an abortion, which is fucked up. Then there were a bunch of people saying, well, if she was raped, and it's like, she was raped. She's 10 and she's pregnant. The only possibility there was that she was raped.
Rebellion against authority, self-righteousness, disrespect towards parents, they're common in the growing up years. They're also signs of involvement in satanic cults.
No.
Perhaps one of the major signs of cult involvement is when the group moves into obsession. They get stuck on one idea.
But kids, like young people do that all the time.
Focus on this idea.
Like teenagers too. They get like obsessed with one kind of music.
Destruction and on doom. They have many highs and many lows.
People get obsessed with one kind of music?
They have drastic changes in behavior.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Cleanliness, punctuality, and attitude towards family and friends.
Most of the people we deal with, the young adults that we deal with, have other problems.
Yeah, I think now they're just saying metal fans are Satanists.
Synonymous with even sometimes gang activity. They're looking for things that they may not have at home.
This guy drives a Firebird with a T-top.
They're looking for
I guarantee
that
it.
they can belong to. And a lot of times these kids start out innocently enough trying to get into something that they feel that they're wanted, and people will form them and make their opinions to the point where they're really involved in satanic activity. Anytime you do have a situation where you find a ritual site or you find graffiti that shows some kind of satanic situation, then you need to look at it and investigate it. And I think the big thing is if you keep your mind open. Parents need to keep an open mind. A lot of times parents and people in general will close their eyes to things that they don't want to hear. If you keep an open mind and try to know your kids and learn what your kids are all about, I think that'll be a big step into understanding what's going on and then being able to identify any problems that may arise or situations that you might see that you might need to look for help and not keep a closed mind. Believe me, I've been in this business for 10 years and you're always amazed at what kids will do and the different fads that come up. And sometimes it may be totally innocent. It may not be occult activity. It may not be satanic activity. But hopefully if you have the open mind, you'll be able to notice that. When we get involved in some of these training groups, we try to talk to PTAs and school administrators and things like that.
This guy's the only one that seems reasonable. This guy seems totally reasonable. He's like, sometimes it isn't that shit.
Keeping an open mind on what teenagers are all about nowadays. And
in fact, I would say it's almost never that shit.
They may be what we call dabbling in some kind of occult activity. It may be just a rebellion on some form of Christian upbringing, something to get your...
That's mostly what it is. Yeah, it's like goth kids don't like the Christian parents.
Involved in satanic cult activities, be patient, be watchful. It's best to understand them because provoking them will only drive them deeper into the cult and that behavior. Teach the parents and the school officials and the youth workers to note these behavior changes and to take time to find out what's going on in their lives. Teach them to ask the meaningful questions and what the symbols are about that they might write on their notebooks and they might wear on their clothing. Teach these youth workers and parents.
I've still never figured out what that fancy S symbol means.
Over and over again. They have a right to know what's going on in the young people's lives, and open communication allows that to happen. don't hesitate to encourage these parents and youth workers to seek outside help. Call your local support services for youth. They can be a great help to you. Never stop this important investigation into lives for the value of our kids in America.
Satanists.
And that's about as much of that as we can fit on this podcast. That was different. It wasn't Eric Weinstein or Jordan Peterson or anything. What'd you think about that?
That was fear-mongering. That entire thing was just fear-mongering. And I'm not a fan of fear-mongering. Especially when it's like fear-mongering over people who are relatively peaceful.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. It's just like not for nothing. Like I said, kind of at the beginning, during all this, the FBI had figured out that this wasn't happening. And they were like trying to tell police departments this. And it just seems the police departments, the people in these police departments just didn't want to believe that it wasn't Satan. I don't know if they were able to like maybe get more funding from the city, like government, if they thought there were like satanic cults going around trying to kill everybody's kids. Maybe it was like money. Maybe they got hooked by some of these weird former Satanist grifters.
How could it not be Satan if he's playing Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, it's obviously Satan and not just a capitalist who made a game that people enjoy.
Yep.
Well, I guess that was it. Welcome back, and I'm going to make you read this show out.
All right. We do this show every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific. If you're listening to the podcast, try to check us out on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Echoplex. And check out our other shows at echoplexmedia.com. They're all listed on there, and they're all fantastic. Oh, and we'll be back here after the song, but not for the podcast listeners.
Just for what you say.
Sunday, right here on twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. It's the Plex. 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific and on into red light. We have the worst news in the week that no one else will cover. The Plex has it all. Conspiracy, right-wing nut jobs, Christian extremism, and Madison Star Moon. Tune in every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/Echoplex Media and find our full schedule at echoplexmedia.com.